Is my Senior Enrichment project video, Matt Clark. Start off with a little landing page for our home page. Just kind of pointless, but decided to put it there. Got our campus view here. Shows all of our campuses with their names, pictures. We can click on them to go to their information. We can see the students that are here. We can add a campus here. And we do have one extra thing to show. If we have any forms that are empty or not meeting our validation requirements, we'll get a little pop-up there letting us know that we need to change something. Submit it, and it will be added. Got a default picture, shows our information here. Can remove that campus, we'll get redirected back to our campuses, and it is no longer here. We can go to an individual campus and we can edit it, and we get a pre-populated form. Again, if we get rid of something, can't see it anymore, it will it'll tell us. We can click on our little students here, go to another view. Didn't get around to styling this one, but it shows our single student view, shows our information here. We can link back to their school here. We can, again, edit the student. Form's a little different. Pre-populate. We have some validations to check if we have proper email, or if we have like a proper GPA. It'll let us know that we're doing something wrong. Submit it, takes us back, and the information changes. We can remove the student, and we get redirected back to our students, and they're no longer here. If we have some 404 type page, if we go to some invalid URL, we'll get a little message, and we'll get redirected back to our home page. I think that's it for the basic functionality of the site. It's got stuff set up in flex boxes. Didn't get fully around to finishing, but we've got little card views here, information of their school name, pictures. For the code on our back end here, I guess we'll start. I have just a little seed file I made. Wasted a lot of time doing it, but we can set our number of students that we want to seed. We have some random email, first names, just random names I typed in. We've got all our schools here, different stuff for constructing random form fields. We've got helper functions that generate random numbers and random indexes in our arrays to put stuff together to give us emails and names and street addresses and all that. Then we can loop through the number of students that we want and create them, push them onto our array here. We generate a random campus ID as well. And then we just go through all of our schools that we have set up and make a school for each of them with random stuff on them. Our normal seed stuff. As far as our backend goes here, we've got our campuses API. We can get a campus, do our database here, get an individual campus, post to a campus, and delete a campus, or update a specific campus here. We can do the same on our students, pretty much all the exact same routes, same logic. Our student model here, DB define, we have our allow no, our validations here for the database, default value for our picture, check if our GPA is valid before letting it go in. And then had some issues with our default pictures, so we had to write a little before validate hook to fix that. Same with our campuses here, similar stuff, not quite as much. We have our associations here. Campus can have many students. Student will belong to one campus. A little index here just goes to our individual routes. Our campus trees are here. All of our actions, action creators, our thunks here. do our API requests, and pass our action creators to dispatch here to with our updated stuff so that we can set our state. We've got our different cases here to mutate our campus state. Same with student here. Mostly all the same logic again, just specific to students for a different state. And then our index here, combine them, put them under our keys that we want. And for our front end here, we have got our root component. It's got our nav links, take us to the 3 different main things we want to see. Our router here with switch to let us check all the paths that we want to look right, and some fuzzy matching, and then our not found page, our for exact path for landing page, and then this just fuzzy matches anything that we haven't already matched in our router to send us to the not found page. Landing page is pretty straightforward there, not found page. It's a little component with a component mount to redirect us. For our campuses, we've got our campus list here. State check loading so that we can have our little loading pop up while we wait for our component did mount to run our Redux here, our dispatch, and for that to send its AJAX request, wait for response, set our loading to false if that works out. And then we'll come back and render our list here, which we get our campuses off state, and we can loop over them and we render a bunch of campus cards, passing our campus ID and campus down to them so they can render the proper information. Campus card's pretty straightforward. It's just a little container with our name and image and wrapped in a link, so when we click it we go to the proper school. We have our presentational campus view here, just shows all our information and has our remove button if we are in the single view only, not in the main view. We have our campus form here, presentational component mostly, all of our props and methods and everything we pass down to it, our conditional classes, and we have logic for our field validations here. If something's wrong, we check our states and we can put a warning label that says something about it. Our campus form wrapper here has a little bit more, has our state for our controlled inputs. Quite a bit more methods here. We've got our handle change, normal for controlled, except for we are passing a callback to set state as well. That we have a little function to validate our form fields. Just whatever field we grab the validation off state, we can change it in our switch and set it. When we submit here, we will call our validate form. That just checks that all the validations are proper, and if they are valid from when we entered them, we'll have checked every time they'll be turned to true. If the form is valid, then we can check and see if we have come here from an update route and use our thunk here to edit. That will make our put request to our server to edit it. Otherwise, we just make a new campus. This is a regular form if we just came here from the add student place. If it's not a valid form, we will trigger our state here that will let us know that there was an invalid submit, which then lets us use our class names module from npm to conditionally render some class names and set them and pass them down as props here into our campus form. That takes all that and renders it, and it can take so if we have one submit that's invalid, it won't since the first time you see the form, it's empty. You don't need to see warnings. Once if they submit and it wasn't valid, then warnings will pop up for any fields that were not valid. Our component did mount here just is to check if we are on update route. If our params look a certain way, then we can set our validations true because we're getting valid form data. That way, and this invalid submit so that if they change it, they don't have to submit. If they empty a form like I did, it'll automatically show the warning on the edit view. Single campus view is pretty much the same. We have loading and redirecting. If we get to so we can redirect. If we get to a invalid, we've got our remove handler here that will send our delete request and set a redirect state so that we can show that we're redirecting here. We can render that, and while we wait for our delay to switch us to our main campus view. Component mount, we get the campus ID from our URL, turn that to a number. We check to make sure that it was actually a number, not a string or something that would turn into a not a number. If that, we go to our not found and we redirect back to home. Otherwise, we use our thunk to put this campus as our selected campus on state. Toggle off the loading and render our campus here in our single view. In our single campus view, we showed before, since we're on our single view, we will render the button to remove it. All of our handlers can pop back up. Submit remove, yeah, from when we click our remove button. Student view, all the student stuff is pretty much the same. Using the number, checking out a number. We have our to check if we're on an update, if we get passed down the right things. For our update will edit button will work here. Single student view, pretty straightforward. Student card again, so link wrapping. Student form is a little bit more involved because the validations, there's more validations for more fields. So we have these conditional error tags here. We have our classes being conditionally rendered so that the input can be outlined to show that there's something wrong with it. We're again getting all of our props from our wrapper here, which has all of our validation props on it, all of our methods, just pretty much exact same logic here. Our validate form field is a little bit more. We found some email regex online that works pretty good, and so we just check each individual one. We can check our JPA is proper, and same way we validate the form, and so that we can do our error class conditionally for our labels, or for our input fields. We pass that down to our student form here. We've got the with router on a lot of this so that we can use the history.push to redirect us around. Student list, again, pretty similar. For our loading logic, we fetch our students, we wait that, and then we can set our loading to false once that happens. And then we have our student cards, which pretty straightforward there. I believe that is about it. We've got styling in here. Just mostly coloring and sizing things a little bit, making some flex boxes to make things look a little nicer. Didn't spend a ton of time on that, but that's what we got here.